For that, Dr. Yared. So as I was saying, that Torah is the instructions that were given, and everything on the face of this earth has been given instructions. Everything on this earth has been given a command from the creator of the heavens and the earth. Okay. So when I talk about that we're not going over the Torah or we're not reading Torah, I'm saying we're not going over the Torah of Moshe. This is not the Torah of Moshe. These are not instructions for the children of Israel. They're not. And when you look at it and you read it, you will find that that isn't the case. It's an historical account in which the creator is letting us know how he is setting up things, okay? So he brings to our attention that he's very angry with humankind and what they have done to him, okay? And how they have disappointed him and how their spirits are not willing to allow him to govern them and to judge them and to mediate on their behalf. These people were super cruel. They were very hostile. They were very violent. And there was no way whatsoever to turn them from their path. They're already on that path, and there's nothing that he could have done at this moment. There's nothing that he could have said to them, which brings me to my question for all of us tonight. Did Noah preach to these people?
No.
Huh?
No, he didn't.
He did not. I want to clear something up. Okay. Our New Testament, okay, which is not ours anymore, is there. Their New Testament has made some indications about, does anybody know how many years that they said Noah preached to these people? If you can remember. Well, if you don't remember, huh?
I was going to say I've heard that number, but I can't recall it to mind.
It's right here. 120 years. This is what they said, okay? Somebody tell me, if you read your Torah portion, why is this a lie? It's about mathematics. Tell me why. Why is this a lie? Why didn't he preach for 120 years? Just give me the math on it. Let's start off with Noah. How old was Noah when he started or received a message from the Creator? He was 500 years old. And how old was he when he landed and got off the ark? It was in his 601st year. Okay. That leaves you with 101, roughly between 100 and 101 years old. Okay. Our years. A lot of scholars have said that when he mentioned the lifespan of 120 years is not what he was talking about, that their lifespan wouldn't be 120 years. They're figuring after Noah had came off the ark, he was 601 years old, and then he lived for another 350. I think he was 600. He was 600. It was in his 601st year. He lived another 350, and he died at 950 years old. All of the descendants after them, they kept living long. They kept living to like 800 and 700 and going down. Then they started falling off. They started going down to their 400s and then their 300s. And then they started fathering children early. If you notice in the text, everyone was generally waiting like hundreds of years before they had a child. It wasn't because they wasn't being fruitful and multiplying. It's simply because it was very difficult for them to have children at that time. Why? Maybe simply because of their bodies, you know? I mean, the earth was challenged. It was cursed. I mean, if you think about the grace and the mercy of Yah, he tells them, now I'm going to curse the earth for your sake, and it's not going to bring forth a whole bunch of food. So at this moment, the population of the earth was not as much as you and I would like to think. They had sons and daughters, but they would have to wait till like 190 years old, or 200 or 400 years old before they had a child, or, those kind of things. And so we saw that in the text. We're going to quickly go over what we went over a little bit. So we determined that Noah was, in his generation, he birthed something. He was righteous and he was wholehearted and he walked with Elohim. And we know that the world was corrupt before the Creator. And so the Most High, he saw everything on it. And he told Noah that, hey, I need you to build an ark. And he gives him dimensions, and he gives him the floor plan, and he lets him know what it has to be. And he takes all that time and he's building that ark. Okay. He had to put that work and he had to put that effort. And so what we can learn from that quickly is that, as I told you in our last teaching, that the Creator has called people to a life of service. And once you start on this work, you have to finish it. You have to complete it. You have to stay consistent with it. It's never going to end. It's like we're told that, we can live our own lives and then Yah will just be part of our lives. And what we need to understand is, as people, is Yah's given us a forecast about what life will be like with him. It's always this is the reason why you and I were designed. So our life's work is going to take a lot of patience. It's going to take a lot of work, a lot of effort. And there's going to be some struggles along the way, in which we find here. He tells Noah that I'm going to establish my covenant with you, right? Because of all the people that I have seen on the face of the earth, only you are the only one that I found to be righteous. So I'm only going to deal with you. I'm not dealing with anyone else. One of the important things that I want to bring out in this Torah portion, let me go to chapter number 7 for you. We find in chapter number 7 that the Creator has told him, Noah, that he wanted how many clean animals?
7 of each.
I need 7 pairs. And what do they need to be?
Male and female.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. A lot of people who are thinking that, they could be whatever they want to be. Yah is telling us that it's always going to be male and female. How many of unclean?
2.
2 of each.
1. I need 1 pair. If I'm not mistaken. Let's read it. Yah says to Noah, come into the ark, you and, for I have seen that you alone in this cycle of life are the only one righteous before me. There was no one else. And of every clean animal, you're to take 7 couples. Okay. And of the animals that are not clean, 1. 1 couple of unclean. 7 couples. And couples is the male and female. What's interesting is that out of all creation, it says in the text that he only saw Noah. He didn't see Shem, Ham, or Japheth as being righteous. That's interesting, because he didn't say that I see you and your household. He only pointed to Noah. He's the only one that was righteous from Yahweh's perspective before him. So as you can see, it could take one person that could save a whole household. Somebody give me another example of that when I talk about the book of Joshua or the book of Hosea. You guys remember what happened with Yehoshua? He sent in 2 spies to a woman. And what did she ask?
Oh, she asked that they, whenever they did hit the city, that they rescue her and her family.
Yes. And they told her to go get, she said, my father and our household. Okay.
Right.
So she provided a way of escape for her whole entire house. Right.
Right.
When we look at Lot's family, right? He went to his son-in-laws, the ones who were engaged to his daughters, and he said to them, come on, let's go. And they said, no, they laughed from the scorn. But everybody that was in that house was able to be delivered and to be saved from Yah's judgment. So what we're finding here is that the Creator is finding comfort in Noah. When you look at this story this week, I don't want you to look at this only as Yah's judgment, but I want you to look at his mercy. I want you to look at how compassionate he is. I want you to look at the fact that he said he's taken pity on humanity. But what moved him was this, what you would call righteousness. Someone tell me what righteousness is from a Hebraic perspective. And I'll give you an idea. Remember the cat? It was a mountain lion I showed you a picture of.
Yes.
So what does it mean to be righteous?
It means that you're living the way according to Yahweh's rules, regulations,
And how do you do that, Akotsi?
by keeping Torah.
Yes. And you keep in the Torah, but the animal that I showed you was a mountain lion, and it was down in a prowling type of position. So let me see if I can pull that up for us right quick, so I can give us a quick reminder. And it's called Zad, right? So we're talking about Zadi. Right, here you go. Right here. You see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this was the picture that I want you to remember about when you're thinking about righteousness. The reason why I gave this picture is because this word, literally, Zad, is the root of the word Zadik. Okay. That's where this word comes from. It comes from Zadik. Or excuse me, that's the actual name of righteousness, Zadik. Okay. So Zadik, but the root of it is called Zad. Okay. Which is the Zadi and the Dalit. And that means to be literally a hunter. Okay. It means to hunt. And it means someone who's in pursuit, because the Zadi right here is a man, a picture of is a man who's laying on his side. It's a man who's laying on his side. Okay. And so he's looking to ambush something or someone, right? And it has this idea, like I said, to hunt, but you need to be a hunter to do that. But the most important part that I like of it is that when a person is the one who's doing the hunting, they're in a pursuit and they're chasing after what they desire. Okay. And that happens when you and I are walking with the Creator. Okay. Which next week's Torah portion is going to be talking about walking with the Creator. Okay. So that's what righteousness is. Okay. The New Testament talks about righteousness. Okay. And it says something that I want to share with you. I really don't like reading it because it makes me sick to my stomach, but I understand that I have to, because this is where our people have come from, and we're being deceived. The idea of Christianity, by the way, is to get us to obtain righteousness by what they would call faith or belief. Okay. That's how they want us to obtain it. They don't want us to obtain it through, they're saying it is unattainable. The righteousness of the Creator is unattainable by the Torah. That's what they have said. but I want to share with you right quick what is spoken. Let me see, where is this at? That's First Peter. I don't want that. Hebrews. Okay. They have this idea about belief and about faith. Okay. And then their favorite chapter is chapter number 11. They give us a litany of different people who have apparently achieved this faith that caused the Creator to show them mercy. Okay. So, for example, I ain't gonna spend too much time with it, but it says, by faith, Noah, being warned by God concerning events as yet unseen, in reverent fear constructed an ark for saving of his household. And by this, he condemned the world, right? And became an heir of righteousness that comes by faith. They inserted this idea of faith to connect it to righteousness. Okay, by faith. They're saying the only way that a person could be faithful is by believing. Now, you and I both know that who do they use to talk about this faith? Who do they always go to first? Here they're going to him, to Noah. But who's their main person that they use for being the father of the faithful?
Abraham, I think.
Yes, they're talking about Abraham. Okay. Creator's causing me to go somewhere. Praise be to the living Elohim. So with Abraham, they say that it was his faith that triggered this relationship with the Creator. Okay. And it's found in the book of Genesis, Better Sheep, chapter number 15. Okay. And I want all of you to take notes of this. It's very important for you to understand. At first, I wasn't going to go there, but I see that I have to now. All right. I'm going to read something to you out of the book of Romans, and then we're going to go to Genesis chapter number 15 and see if it's true. Paul is mentioning to an audience in Rome, which are not only Christians and believers, but also to so-called Jewish people, Jews. He never uses the term of a body of people or a nationality of saying Yisrael until he gets later in chapter number 9 and 10 and 11 of Romans. But before that, he's always talking about the Jew and he's talking about the Greek. He doesn't include the 12 tribes of Israel, which is a problem. But I want to read something to you, what he said. He says, then what shall we say Abraham, right? Our forefather obtained by his own efforts. For if Abraham came to be considered righteous by Elohim because of legalistic observances, meaning the legalistic observances is that which is the Torah, then he has something to boast about. But this is not how it was before Elohim. He says that this is not the reason why he received his faith. Okay, it's saying that he received his righteousness, okay, by his faith. And his faith did not come by legalistic observances of the Torah, okay? I'm going to read a little bit more, and then we're going to go to where it's talking about so you can see for yourself. He says, for what does the Tanakh say? It says, and which is untrue, right? It says, Abraham put his trust in God, and it was credited to his account as righteousness. I want you to see here that he says Abraham put his trust in God, as if Abraham is the one who so-called, and that's faith. They're using that word trust, but it's faith. And their faith means believe. Okay. He put his belief in God, and it was credited to him as righteousness. Now, the account of someone who is working is credited not on the ground of grace, but on the ground of what is owed to him. So he's saying he didn't do anything to obtain any righteousness, which is true from a certain perspective. However, okay, it says in the case of the one who is not working, but rather is trusting in him who makes ungodly people righteous, his trust is credited him as righteousness. So he's saying that no work that you and I could ever do can produce righteousness. This is what he's saying, okay? In the same way, the blessing which David pronounces in those to whom Elohim credits with righteousness apart from the legalistic observances. So in a nutshell, what he's saying here is that faith is the only thing that could give a person righteousness. And that faith is something that you, as Abraham has had, is the only thing that can make the Creator consider you righteous, is by you having faith and not doing what they would call legalistic observances. So let's establish right now, is this true or not? Here it is. I'm going to take you to a few little places. One of the dangers of reading English or any other culture can cause you to move in the direction that they want to send your mind, okay? From how he's putting it out there, he's saying that Abraham believed, and then the Creator counted that as righteousness. He doesn't tell you how that belief happened. So let's read it for ourselves, okay? It says, I'm reading from right to left. After these things came the word of Yahweh to Abraham in a vision. And he's saying, don't be afraid, Avram. I am your shield and I am your reward. Back in the New Testament, it tells you that Yah never made any reward to him. He didn't give him a reward, which is not true. He did. He said, I'm going to be your reward. There is a reward for following the Creator. There is, okay? So I'm going to be your reward. And he said, Abraham said, Adonai Yahweh Matatem, what are you going to give to me? What are you going to give to me since I go and I'm walking about childless? I don't even have a child. And the heir of my house is the Damascus Eleazar, which is Eleazar of Damascus. And he said, Abraham, behold, to me, nothing. You have given offspring. You haven't given me an offspring. And indeed, a son in my household is heir. Who's going to be my heir? That's what Abraham was saying to the Creator. And this is in a vision. This is in a kazakwa, right? And he says, and behold, the word of Yahweh came to him in this vision. And he says, lo, meaning no, shall be the heir of this one. This is not going to be an heir. No son of your household is going to be your heir. Rather, it's going to be one who will come out from your own body. He shall be your heir. Verse number 5, and he brought Otho in this vision, and Yahweh caused, not just brought him. If you're in my Hebrew class, it's a way which we call the Hitphael. Okay, the hey right here is missing, but once you learn the structure of it, you'll know what it is. So he said, and he brought him, he caused him. That's what a Hitphael is causative. So Abraham didn't go out by himself. The Creator caused him to go outside. Outside of what? Somebody tell me, outside where? Where's Abraham at? If he tells him that he brought him outside, where was he at?
In the tent.
He was in his tent. Thank you. And he says, look, that is a command, or cause to look. Now, I want you to look toward the Hashamayim, and I need you to count the Usafor. I need you to count the Hakokovim. I need you to count the stars, if you're able to count and number them. And he said to him, so shall be your Zedekiah, your offspring. Okay, because the question is whether or not Yah is going to give me this land. Am I going to have, and I don't have, what good is what you're telling me if I don't have anything or anyone to give it to? Yah tells them, I'm going to give you a descendant. I'm going to give you descendants. This descendant is going to come out your own body. And also too, I'm going to make your descendants as numerous as the stars. Okay. Now listen to this. Going back to Paul's argument, it says that Abraham believed. And therefore, when he believed God, based on what he said, then he counted it to him for righteousness. Verse number 6 says, and he believed. Okay. That's all it says. And he believed. But it doesn't tell you how. Okay. The Hiphael is causative. As we saw, he caused him to come out of his tent. Okay. So this is causative. That means that the creator is the one who caused Abraham to believe. Yah is the one who put that belief in him. He did not cause himself to believe. The creator caused him to believe what he said. Okay. And I have evidence and even more proof, not just grammar here about a Hiphael. Okay. Because it says he believed in Yahweh. By Yahweh, I mean, he believed in him. And Wayak Shaveh Ha, that means that he counted and he thought to him to make him to be Zedekiah. This is what the creator decided. That's what he decided. That I'm going to count him now that I've caused him. I'm the one who caused him to believe. That's what I've done for him. Okay. If it was that he believed, this verb would not be a Hiphael. If you've been in my class, what verb tense would it be?
Past.
A Hiphael, which is someone who's actively doing the action upon themselves. Both active and passive, meaning that is reflexive. Okay? Meaning I'm going to do the action. I'm going to feed myself. I'm going to clothe myself. I'm going to brush my teeth. I'm going to cause myself to believe. You see? So it doesn't say that he caused himself. It says that the creator is the one who caused him to believe. If he did it himself, and I'm going to show you a Hiphael in just a second. Okay? Matter of fact, yeah, I'm going to show you just a second. I want you to set your eyes on verse number 7, though. Verse number 7 says this: Yahweh is still speaking to him. And he said, the he here is Yahweh. He says, I am Yahweh, in which has caused you. See that hey right there? That's that Hiphael. I'm the one who caused you. I'm the one who brought you out. Okay? So listen to this. This is beautiful. I'm the one who brought you out. You didn't bring yourself out. You didn't cause yourself to come out. Yatse or Yatse Thika, Hotsi Thika means I'm the one who caused you to come out. I'm the one who caused you to believe. I'm the one who caused you to be righteous. I'm the one. You see? You and I try to take credit. Listen carefully. If you and I try to take credit for our own righteousness in our own way of thinking, right? And I don't want to confuse you. Yah is the one who provides the human being with the opportunity to walk with him. Yah is telling us through our Father that I caused you to believe. I'm the one who caused you to be righteous, and I'm the one who brought you out. Why? Why does Yah cause him to come out of that land of the Chaldeans, of Ur? Why did he cause him to come out? Somebody take a guess. Tell me.
Because they were worshiping idols.
Yes. And also, too, Yah has a plan. The plan is to use that man. I need to fortify him. I need to build him up and cause him to believe so I can give him, right, account to him righteousness. Once I've done that, then I can give to you the land that I'm having you go to. But I'm the one who brought you out. Okay? Now, you say, well, what role does anyone, especially our father Abraham, what role are you going to play? Well, let's find one more verse, though, okay? I brought you out of that place that you're in because of a variety of different reasons, you know, the idols and so forth. But I had a plan. I want to give you my land. I want to get rid of a group of people. Okay. I want you to inherit. I want you to larishta. I want you to possess this land that I'm having you go to. Because ultimately, I want to give the land to who?
To the children of Israel.
I want to give it to the children of Israel. I wanted to give it to the people that I called from the beginning of time. I want to give it to the people that I planned when I set up the nations to set apart a people for myself, a set apart people. We have always been on Yahweh's mind. So I'm going to use this man who is older. I'm going to use him who's come out of idolatry. I'm going to use him. I'm going to cause him to come out. Now, in verse number 6, it said they had there that he believed. But we found out that he was caused to believe. Look what verse 8 says. To prove that he did not have belief on his own. Listen what it says. And he said, who? And he said, Master, Yahweh. So who's talking? Who's talking?
No.
Abraham.
I'm sorry.
Avram. No, it's okay. Avram is talking. And guess what Avram said? He had an interrogative, which is a question. And he said, what? Ba ma. By what? I, which is that aleph on the front of that, and da right here comes from the word yada. Okay, but because we added an aleph to it, and it's in a future tense, I will. How, by what shall I know? Key that I, aleph here, will rishana, possess what you just told me. How will I know? But I thought you said, Christian writers, that he believed God. You see this? He's asking Yah a question. If he believed it, why is he asking him a question? He's asking a question because he still doesn't know. He's still, the faith that Yah gave him, listen carefully, the faith that Yah gave him, right? And the righteousness that he accredited to him was necessary. He didn't believe Yah. He didn't. Yah caused him to believe. He didn't believe him. So Yah tells him, I'm going to give you a sign. And the sign is, he says, well, how will I know? By what way? How will I know that you're going to do this for me? Yah tells him to go gather this, go get a 3-year-old female goat, go get a 3-year-old ram, go get a 3-year-old turtle, a ram, a female goat, and a 3-year-old cow. Bring them to me, and a turtle dove and a young pigeon. And he brought them to Yah, all these, and he cut them all in the middle. And that was the sign. That was the sign of that covenant. And Yah made a covenant with him that day. Okay. But look at here. Let me prove that he didn't believe. Okay. I got a few minutes. I'm talking a little fast. Read from right to left. When Abraham was what? When he was 99 years old. He appeared Yahweh to Abraham and said to him, Anoki El Shaddai. Right? He said, I'm El Shaddai. Before he told him was Yah. Now he's telling him I'm El Shaddai. He mentioned Shaddai because Shaddai has to do with the breast. I'm the strong breast. Why is he telling him this? He'll let you know in just a moment. Here's my verb that I told you about. I told you because we don't understand this language, you don't know how things are being said. This verb right here is called a hithpael. He told him that I need you to hithpael. I need you to hith halak. I need you to cause yourself to walk before me and exist blameless. That is our responsibility. If you notice in our Torah portion, it says that Noach, what? He walked with Elohim. And he was what? Tamim. Same words. He was Tamim. He was perfect before the Most High. Yah just gave our father the command, Abraham, I need you to cause yourself to walk before me and you exist to be Tamim. And I'm not asking this just from you. I'm asking this from everybody that who's going to walk in the path that I told them. That's our part. He didn't tell him to be righteous. He told him, listen, walk before me and be Tamim. If you walk before Yahweh the right way and you walk with him like Enoch did, he was Tamim. You understand? He was Tamim. I want to open up another screen. He says this in verse 2. If you were to do what I just told you to do, I will make a covenant between me and you and will multiply you male, meaning very exceedingly. Abraham fell on his face and he talked with him to Elohim, and he says, what does he say? He says, as for me, behold, right? He fell on his face, and Elohim said to him, behold, my covenant is with you, and you shall be a father of many nations. So this is talking about Yah changing his name and giving him the covenant to be the father of many nations. And we don't have time to go over the nations right now because we're going to do that later on through Shabbat. But he says to him, he changes his name, but I want to show you the part. And he said, I'm going to make you exceedingly, multiply you greatly. I'm going to make you fruitful. And guess what? What's going to come out of you is nations of kings will come from you. That's what's going to come from you. Okay? That's what's going to come from you. Listen, and I will, his Pael. What's the Hithpael again? What's a Hithel? I said Hithpael. What's a Hithel? Causing. I'm going to cause to be established with you my Barithi, my covenant between me and you and between me and your descendants after you. Okay? So here we got something else, folks. Yah not only caused him to believe, Yah not only gave him righteousness, Yah not only brought him out, but Yah says, I'm going to establish you now. I'm going to make you rise, because establish means to rise. That's what that word means. I'm going to make you rise. Okay? I'm going to make you kum. I'm going to establish this with you. I'm going to cause to stand my covenant. This arrow here is directly telling you about my barithi, this agreement between me and between you and between your sons, your Zerakah, after you. So you see all the things that Yah's causing? You see, he's causing all this. Are you and I causing us to come out of this place, or will he cause it?
He will.
He's going to cause it. So what he's trying to show us through our studies in that particular Noah, and what we see right here, because this is not still part of our Torah. This is the Torah that he gave to them. You understand? Which are the principles upon which Yah will continue to tell us how he's going to get the nation to grow. That's the whole purpose of Noah, is to show us, I'm going to bring you how you came to be. I'm letting you know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone who will walk before me. Cause yourself to walk before me, like I did with Noah, what he did, what Enoch did. You thought Enoch was mentioned simply because he wanted to tell him that he took him, as if that's some great thing? He said that he walked with Yah for what? 300 years. That's a long time. And at the end of his 300 years, Yah decided to take him. Yah says this covenant is going to be an everlasting covenant. I could give you verification. We don't have time. You want to look at it, First Chronicles, chapter number 16. Tells you right there that this is an eternal covenant. It is forever, that will exist to you. I'm going to exist to you, Lecha, as your Elohim, and to your descendants after you for what? Forever. Yes, forever. Then he tells them in a very simple way, I'm going to give Nathat to you and your descendants after you, the land that you're a stranger in, and all the land of Canaan as a possession. Why is this important? Because this is the very person that's cursed in our Torah portion. We'll get on that on Shabbat, because I have something else to show you. So then, we don't have time to go to the circumcision, but Yah tells him what the circumcision is. I want to tell you and show you what or how Abraham still didn't believe what Yahweh said. He still didn't believe it, folks. Verse 15. You ready? Could this mean that our wills are also causative? You got that right. Every last one of them. Dr. Yared, you read in Exodus chapter number 6, he gives us 7 I wills. They're causative. You got my blood boiling, like, woo! Here's a stuma right here that tells us that the conversation is not over. I'm just going to give you another aspect of the teaching. Okay, this is another aspect. We're starting something right here. And he said that he's that yod right there. Elohim to Abraham, Elia, the strong staff, to Abraham, Sarai, your ishtika, your wife. He's telling her what it is. Shall be called Tikra et Shema. I'm going to call her name no longer. You're not going to call her no longer Sarai, but her name will be Sarah. That's her Shema. Okay. Verse 16. And I will bless her and also give by her to you a son, and I will bless her, and she shall be the mother of nations. Just like you're going to be the father of nations, they talk about Abraham being a father of nations. Why they never talk about her being a mother of nations? So now we know that he's not talking about Abraham is going to, spelled that wrong. When he talks about Abraham's going to be a father of many nations, well, the nations that are coming through Sarai is the nations that he's the father of, because she's the only one that was intimate with him. You understand? And she only had one seed. And she said and tells him exactly the same thing that he told about Abraham. To Sarai, she's going to be the mother of nations. I'm going to bless her, and she shall exist to the nations. And out of her will come kings of peoples. From Mimenah, from her, and they will exist. So the same kings that are coming out of Abraham are the same kings that are coming out of her, which isolates who the nations they're talking about, which we're going to talk about more on Shabbat. I need to continue to prove to you that Abraham did not believe what Yahweh said. He didn't have that within him. It wasn't in his pael. Listen carefully. When Yahweh told him this, verse number 17 says, why you fell, Abraham? Abraham fell on his face and he laughed. He laughed at what Yahweh said. And the name for laughter is Yitzchak. What's the name of his first son through Sarai? Sarah? What is it?
Yitzchak.
Yitzchak. That's the yod, the zadi that you got there, the ket, and the kwa, and the kof, right here. The reason why that son was named that is because Abraham laughed. And he didn't laugh outwardly like his wife did in chapter number 18. And he said, listen, and he said that he here is Abraham. In his mind, he asked a question, Halavain, how am I going to have? Okay, now listen, if he has so much faith like the New Testament and the Christians tell you, then why is he laughing and why is he saying this in his heart? He says, Halavain, You say, well, Dawid, that doesn't seem like it has an interrogative on it. So why is there a question mark here? Because if you know the language, you know that ha that's put on the front, a letter hey that's put on the front of any type of noun, lavain, with a preposition, will tell you that this is asking a question. He had said in his mind, to a son, to me, 100 years old, I'm going to have a son. I'm going to wayaled. I'm going to bring a son. Remember in chapter number 15, he asked, well, how am I supposed to know? And Yah says, I'm going to give you a son. And then guess what he said? He didn't laugh then, did he? He asked the question, well, how will I know this? After Yah had what? Caused him to believe. Yah caused him to believe and gave him the righteousness that he needed in order to establish a covenant with him. Yah is the reason why you and I have the righteousness that we have. Why am I passionate about this? Because I've been reading in the book of Romans, chapter 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and I just couldn't take it no more. They're trying to tell you that the only way that a person can be established through righteousness, listen, is you having something within you to believe. If Yahweh wanted to do something for us, he would not put that on us. The reason why is because he would no longer be the powerful one. If you and I were to fully understand him, how can a human being that lacks common sense and the desire to do good be able to have this, all of a sudden, this magical faith? What would be the use of any type of miracles or any signs and wonders if you and I would believe and mustered up enough within ourselves? And what does he say about us? He says, you're nothing but a far outside of me. You are nothing but dust. I remember that you're nothing but dust. So you're telling me that enough dust can conjure up enough, what you will call faith, to really fully understand the Creator? Huh? You really believe that these Christians, these Abricians, have doctored up enough faith and enough trust, and they understand the Creator's way so much that somebody that they don't even know who the author of the book is can say something, and they got enough faith to believe it. They fully understand it. And then they claim that they have his spirit. And why? Because of this belief system that they have within themselves, knowing that what happened in the garden, knowing that we chose to know good and evil, knowing that you and I died and that man is nothing but a puff of wind, knowing that your life ain't nothing but grass that's going to be here one day and gone the next. You telling me that we've got it figured out so much that we have all the answers and people still have not turned to Elohim? They have a spirit, but yet they don't know what his moedims are. They have a spirit, but they don't understand what it means to keep the kukim and the mishpatim. Human beings are lost their minds. Here's further evidence. He says this in his own mind. He said to himself, a son at 100 years old, I am supposed to be born? Why you late? I'm going to bring forth a child. I'm going to do this. And with Sarah? E means, and it shall Sarah? No, E means with. And with Sarah? With Sarah? Here it is. Let's verify. Dawid telling us the truth? Dawid telling the truth. If, with, it could be if, and it could be with. With or if. And if Sarai or with her, who is 90 years old, she's supposed to teled? She's supposed to give birth? 90 years old. I'm 100 and she's 90. And you're supposed to do this? He says, this is laughable. But I thought you said that he believed. I thought you said he had faith. That he believed God. No, Elohim caused him to believe. And he said, Abraham to Elohim. Listen to this. He said to him, Lu Yishmael, all that Yishmael may exist before your face, right? Because he didn't believe Yah. So what he's looking for is another solution. He's looking for another way. I thought he had so much faith. I thought he believed him. I thought he was the father of the faithful. But he's asking Yah to give another solution. There has to be another way. Maybe you could take Ishmael. Maybe he can yeh in front of you. Oh, let him do it. Oh, that he would. Let Ishmael. The New Testament talks about how he had so much faith because he thought his body being dead, and that death that he believed that his body and the death of Sarah's womb caused him to believe God. And that mustered up the faith, and that's why he's righteous, because he knew his body was dead. Well, if his body was so dead, then how did he have Ishmael? Huh? If his body was out of tune, how was it? He had him at 85 years old. After he had Ishmael, he had Yitzchak. And after he had Yitzchak, he had Keturah and had a whole bunch of sons and daughters, not only with them, but also concubines. You understand? The point is that he did not have that faith that was within him that he caused himself. Where was that faith that he's asking Yah now to do this, to have Ishmael exist before his face? Where's that faith right now where he's laughing? Where's that at? You see, Yahweh can do the impossible. And he's always saying this, is anything too hard for me? That's what he asked Sarai when she laughed. Is anything too hard for me? Listen what he said. And he said, Elohim, of all, truly, Sarah, your wife, Sarai, your Ishtika, Yoledet Leka, a saying, and why Kadrata et, I'm going to call his name in the Shemo Yitzchak. Why? He's calling him Yitzchak because he laughed. Okay. And what? Here is another causative. I will what? I will haki moti. I will cause to be established and to rise my covenant with Ito, with Yitzchak, and not Ishmael. You see, Abraham tried to push for Ishmael because he thought it was impossible. So Paul's argument and everyone else's argument in the Christian faith is moot. It's not there. Yah says, I'm going to establish a covenant with Ito, with him. That eth is right there, meaning a direct object marker, and that O is meaning him. And that him, it's Yitzchak. I'm going to do the covenant of an everlasting with him and Ulazaro and his descendants after him, which is you and I. So as we saw, or we understand tonight, that the Creator is setting the stage for us to know that you and I can walk in front of him, and you and I can be what they would call tamim. Here it is. Here you go. Here's our evidence. Noach found grace in the eyes of Yahweh. These are the birthings of Noach. Noach was an ish of Zedek. Okay, he was Tamim that we talked about. He was complete. And not only was that, but look at what we got here. To verify everything that we've learned, he had to do his part. And his part was this. He walked. Well, how did he walk, everyone? With a Hithpael. Reflexive. He did the work on himself. He caused himself to do the action. 1980, he walked with Elohim. And so did Enoch, and so did Noah, and so did Abraham, and so did Yitzchak, so did Yaakov. You understand? That is in our blood. It's only those who cause themselves to walk with Yah in being blameless that they would be considered to be a righteous person. I hope you can see it. Someone wrote, our dear Okoti said, some versions of the scripture say the number 601 in Genesis 8:13 has to do with the year, like 2000. Okay. Other versions say it's the years of Noah's life. Would you give me clarification on this? How are we to know the correct, what is just correct? And so that's an 8. So let's give the answer to that. That was 8 and what, Okoti?
8:13.
Okay, so we look at 8:13. 8:13. Exiting the ark. Okay. It says, and it came to pass, which is Hahi or Waihi, Ba'akath in the one in Sesais Lameath, which the 601st year of the Shana in the first month. Okay, so 601 in the first month of the year. That's what that says. Okay. That Kavravu, meaning dried up the Mayim upon the earth. Okay, and let me see. And what's the other one? Because I know that it said that it was in the 600. Okay,
Got it on.
the confusion.
Well,
I know where it comes from.
Yeah, it depends on the version because I read about 5 different ones, 6 of them, and the CJB, the Complete Jewish Bible,
Yeah.
and World English Bible, and even Bible Hub says it's the year, like this is year 2022. Then others, like the Easy and the Amplified, say it's the day of Noah's days, his birthday, the year he was old. Yeah.
In context, it tells us, it doesn't say about, it just tells us about the time that he left. So if we keep it in context, right? Because where's the other one that talked about, where's it at where he says he was a certain age? Because I know, let me look right quick.
Yeah, that was, the Amplified says this is date of birth.
Yeah, there's something that said that he was 600 years old when he actually came off, or when he, scripture is that where it gives his birth. I mean, the time that he was, I think it's, all right, so verse number, it's in chapter number 9. Okay, so that's 8. That's 601. 9. Okay, he left off, he got drunk, blah, blah, blah. He woke up. Okay, here it is. So we know this for sure. So when it talks about the 601, oh, okay, here it is. We'll go to and then CJB in 7. I found it. Okay, so we got 2 places we got to look at. So 7. Thank you for your question. I'm glad we're doing it.
Yes.
7-Eleven. Never forget that. 7-Eleven. That's one of the stores out here. On the 17th day of the 2nd month of the 600th year of Noah's life, all the fountains of the great deep were broken up. Okay. So it happened on his 600th year of his life. Okay. So let's put that number down. Okay. So that's when it went down. It went down on the 600th year of his life. I don't know if it's his birthday, but it was on the 7th day of the second month, the 17th day. And, you know, I think on the second month, and they left and they got out of there on the 27th day of the second month. So it's literally like, you know, a year and 10 days. Exactly. So that number's there. So we know that his 600 year of his life, the fountains broke, right? We know that he stayed on there for a year. He stayed on there for a year. And the way that we know that he stayed on there for a year is because it says the waters were 150 days after the 40. 150 is 5 times 30. So every 5 months, because it said it was for 5 months times 30, that's 150 days. And it said that he came out, as you said, in 813. So on the 600th year of his life, that's when stuff went bad. Okay. Let's go right here. So we'll start there and then we'll go 13. And then it says, on the first day of the first month, why did it do that? On the first day of the first month of the 601st year, the water dried up. Okay. I would take that, subtract that 600, and you got 1 year, which is exactly how long they were on there. They were on there for a year and 10 days. Okay. Because it was on the 27th day of the second month. We just learned it was on the 17th on the second month that this went on. So here is the 27th on the second month, a full cycle, which an extra 10 days, because the 27 from the 17 is the 10. That gives us that. Now, the last one that I want to go to verify this is to find out how old, if it was true in 711. So we'll go to chapter number 9, and number 9 will tell us exactly. It's a great question. I didn't get a chance to go over breaking down the 30 days, but I will later. Just remind me. 9 and where did I have that? The last verse. Okay, 24. Right out to 24. This is what it said. Okay. Noah, okay, after the flood, Noah lived 350 years. Okay. He lived 350 years plus the 600 that he was when he went in. 350. What do you got? 950. So Noah was 600. Okay. And then it went to, and then he was on there until 601. He bounces in 601 on the 27th day. Okay. But his total time was 950 years, which that's why a lot of scholars say, well, I thought you said that he's going to make everybody's days down to 120 years. It was 120 years. They started going down. If you look at Genesis chapter 10, their days started going down, and eventually people started not living as long. And often we think of that as a punishment, but the fact of the matter is that Yah is merciful. You know, Abraham lived to 187, and Yitzchak was 136, I think. Yeah, they lived long lives. Where else I want to go? Oh, I'm way over. I'm sorry, you guys. I'll talk more about that other righteousness later. So that's what we can see. You see, I want to bring that point out because a lot of us think that the work that we're doing, you cannot have righteousness outside of Yah. That's because I was asking myself a question, because Dawid said there's no one righteous. Shlomo said there's none righteous. He says it. And that's what they built their argument in the New Testament, that there's no one righteous. That's true. That is true that there's no one righteous. Okay. But the fact of the matter is, they're saying that you can get your righteousness by believing. And that's not where it's at. That's not. If If we had the righteousness that Abraham had, it meant that Yah has to cause it. Now, let's be honest before we get offline. Let's just be honest. Didn't Yah say that nobody's ever seeking him?
That nobody what?
No one has ever sought Yah.
Right, correct.
No one ever. So how could we establish our own righteousness? By believing some story that some Greek told you? Now, all of a sudden, now we got the recipe. You see? So we're taking credit away from the Creator by assuming that you and I have what it takes to do this. Remember, he said to us in the prophets that I'm not doing this for your sake. He said, you need to be ashamed of what you've done in your behavior. You understand? So, oh, that was back to my original question. Which one of us, out of any of us online right now, which one of us has ever decided to, did we seek Yah out on our own?
No,
Or did he come to you?
he sought us. He drew us.
And then he told us, and he sought us out, and he told us what it is that he was expecting. If you have any belief in anything that he has said, it's because he's the one who's caused you. I'm the one who's going to cause you to come out of Mitzrayim. I'm the one who's going to cause you to come out of your place of exile. I'm the one who caused you to go into exile. That's how dumb we are as a people. All of a sudden now, we got the answers. And all of a sudden now, we're blessed. We can do whatever we want. We got ministries. We got thousands of people following us on YouTube, and we got all kind of videos and all kind of stuff. And now all of a sudden they have the recipe and they have the know-how. Now that they read a couple of verses, they got it all together. What is Yah telling us? He's been telling us from day one, you don't have it together. I'm the one. I'm the one who causes all things. Did he not tell us I created everything? Does he not say I make the light and create darkness? I'm good and evil. I do all things. If there's anything good, I'm the one. Is there anything evil that happened on the earth? I caused it. Woo! You understand? This is Yah's way of putting us in line and checking us and saying, stop with that foolishness. Stop believing what these dumb people told you. They would like to believe. The nations want you to believe what they believe. But I'm killing a lot of them. I didn't make the nations, they're not part of Abraham like they're claiming to be. They're not. They're not. You understand? But Yah's people, he said, you're going to give me praise and you're going to give me glory. Why? Because I mustered up enough faith to believe. People ask me all the time, what do you believe? I don't believe nothing. Yah, he never asked me to believe nothing. Never, nothing. He don't believe that I brought them out. He said, would you believe that? If you believe I brought them out of Egypt, then I'll be your God. He never said that, did he? Not one time.
Nope.
Show me where he told you to believe anything. He asked you to trust him, but see, they're using those two words interchangeably. They're using belief and trust as the same, and they're not. They're from the same root, but they're different. Okay. They're different. So the CJB got smart and it's like, well, this faith stuff ain't working no more. That's Christian. So I'll just change it to trust. And then I could get them with that word. And he never tells you how the verb was said or how the action took place. That's our failure. Our failure is that we don't study and we won't look at what it says. You and I would like to believe that we have that within us. We like to believe that. We like to believe that we're in some way or another responsible for righteousness. And the fact is no, Yah is responsible for causing you and I to believe him. Paul didn't cause me to believe in Yah. I didn't get a brochure, and nobody in my Bible study when I was a Christian ever caused me to trust in Yah. I was like, I believe. I believe. R. Kelly, I believe I can fly. And everybody believed it. And they know, and that's the hook, and that's how they get you. But I'm gonna let you guys go. I know you have families, you have things to do, you got jobs, you got all kinds of stuff going on. But just keep in mind, moving forward, because this is important, you got to understand Yah's the cause. He's the cause. He made the sun rise and he told it to go down today because of him. He caused that. Yeah. Okay. Any remarks? Sorry for keeping you over. I know I love to talk. I'm excited now.
Thank you for the explanation.
Oh, you're welcome.